Hi, it's Jan and Hansbach. Over the years, I've played through lots of jazz tunes, and from time to time, you encounter one that's tricky, difficult to play or solo over. Now, for me, one of the trickiest, the most confusing tunes to play over is Wayne Shorter's Pinocchio. Pinocchio first appeared on the 1968 Miles Davis album Nefertiti. Davis's group at the time consisted of Tony Williams on drums, Ron Carter on bass, Herbie Hancock on piano, and Wayne Shorter on tenor saxophone. Pinocchio is shrouded in mystery because nobody seems to know what the chords are. Now, aside from Chuck Scher's The World's Greatest Fake book, where there's actually a chart, albeit with errors, there is no official publication of the chart by the composer himself. So there's a lot of conjecture about what the chords are, and therefore a lot of interpretations. And if you go online and look for a Pinocchio chart, you'll see many different versions of it. Now, one of the difficulties figuring out what the chords are lies in the fact that at this time, Shorter's compositions were full of tonal ambiguity. The quintet itself had incorporated free jazz elements. There was a repudiation of standard jazz practices. Usually you would play the melody twice and then the players would solo over the chord changes. You had examples like on the opening track, Nefertiti, you just have the melody. You have Shorter's melody being played over and over. There are no solos. And I saw in an interview with Shorter where he explained that Miles Davis thought the melody was so beautiful that it didn't really need a solo. So they just kept looping the melody. So there were all these new practices, these unique interpretations of what jazz could be at that time. One day I decided I wanted to learn Pinocchio, so I looked for charts, and many of the charts I found they were all different. It was like different interpretations of the same thing. I tried playing the chords from these charts against the recording, and some cases they worked. That, well, yeah, that's obviously what's happening there, but then there were other chords that were completely off the mark. I began to get a bit frustrated, so I thought, let me just trust my ear and I'll transcribe it myself. I guess I was being a bit lazy. I thought I could just find a chart and just, solo over it and not worry about having to learn the chords. So I transcribed, the first thing I did was transcribe Herbie Hancock's solo. I put pencil to paper and tried to figure out what he was doing in the solo, hoping that his solo would outline the chords. Obviously, you've got the left-hand comping there as well, so you can garner a lot of information from that. I also listened to the bass line. Well, I took it as gospel that the first note on the first beat of the bar has to be the root, which when you're talking about Ron Carter is a big mistake.
But it seems to me that you were really the essential anchorman.
I almost don't like that word, because if you look at a boat, no matter how great the boat is, there's this thing in the water that won't let it go anywhere. And this thing in the water that's pretty unattractive is called an anchor.
When you put this in context, when you transcribe his bass lines and then you put that into context, that he's not staying in one place, it starts to make more sense. So you just have to do a little bit more digging in order to find out what he's outlining, what is his thinking. There are chords going on here, but he's not necessarily playing the one, sometimes not even the five. And he's playing these approaching notes, these chromatic notes. It's a really intricate way of outlining the chords. In the first two bars, I've got a G flat major 7 sharp 11. And I guess the reason I wrote that was because in the bass line, the first note is like a G flat. But then I learned later that it was more of an E flat minor 6/9. Now here is an example of the ambiguity, because when you look at charts from different people who've tried to, make sense of this, in one chart you may have A flat 13, for the first two bars of the piece. In others, you'll have E flat minor 6/9, or you'll have G flat major 7 sharp 11. The interesting thing, however, is that all those chords come from the same parent scale, which is D flat major. So if you consider that D flat major is the parent scale, then E flat minor 6/9 is a Dorian. and the G flat major 7 sharp 11 is the Lydian, and the A flat 13 is the Mixolydian. So they're all relating to each other. I transcribed 2 choruses from the Nefertiti album and 2 choruses from the version that appears on A Tribute to Miles, which has Tony Williams, Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, and Wallace Roney playing trumpet. Just to make sure that I had this right, I just wanted to make absolutely sure I had it right. And I still don't know if I have it right. I'm not saying that what I've written is the one, but when I solo over the piece, in the original recording, even on the Tribute to Miles Davis CD, when I'm soloing along, the scale choices and the chords seem to work. So I'm just assuming that I'm at least close. After transcribing a couple of choruses from the original recording, I was very happy to find another recording of it on the Tribute to Miles. If you're interested in further exploring this piece, I recommend Steve Kahn's article on Pinocchio, which you can find at stevekahn.com. Kahn is a great guitar player. He's been around for many years. He used to play for the Brecker Brothers. He's played with Steely Dan and many other musicians. His article is a really good companion to this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.